else who has found my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another episode. My name is Tracy Hosen, and I've not so recently started my YouTube channel. I just want to disclose that I am a little bit tired. It was my little human's birthday this week, and we have done something almost every day. Also, I don't ordinarily take naps when my man's home. I do take like little power naps because obviously he's here. But when my little one was passing out now, I was also like dozing off, but I'm like, no, focus. I also have everyone coming over getting tea, and I'm so tired. I didn't even go to church today with any makeup. I went barefaced. I'm just like, no. But I was like, power nap, Smallville, or your goals. Just keep your mind on the prize. So here we are. Plus, I had something exciting I wanted to share with you guys. So let's get into it because a lot is going on right now. My little one's sleeping. People are coming over getting tea. Although I'm also already prepared. That's all. It's already done. So let's use our time wisely and let's share something that I know you are gonna totally lock. Okay, so my brother shared this book with me. It's called Outsmarting Reality, and I love books like many of us about our brains and stuff. I also love Joyce Meyer's. She speaks of Battlefield of Mind. I've read it more than once, and there's a few other books, but today we're talking about Outsmarting Reality. And this book is not something new. It basically, in essence, in summary, your summary of this book is your inner mind, like basically your inner thoughts impact your outer world. Your inner world impacts your outer world. Yeah, something like that. So it's similar to the law of attraction. I also have an episode of that. And these are things we know because social media, everything is made so woke to your third eye. What you think is obviously how you perceive life. But this book was really just in depth about your frequency and be mindful. And I just wanted to share a little bit of what I had taken from the book and what I think could really benefit you. And obviously just aligning that naturally with the Bible because that always makes sense to me. So when we look at like your inner world creating your outer world, it's many times, even with the law of attraction, it's not denying life. It's not denying the bad or however you perceive to see things that are not working out. But what is true is, or at least in my view, what's true is that we are obviously living a life that we have made decisions in, and that's what we're living through our decisions. We're living the consequences of our decisions, or we're living, unfortunately, through the consequence of other people's decisions that's impacted us, if that makes sense. So let's say so much of how we perceive life or how we're living our life is, and this is my view, is we're living through choices that we've made, consequences of those choices, or other people's choices that impact us. But what is true is anything that we experience or go through is 100% how we perceive it, and it's within our control, and this book just reminded me of that. So Joyce Myers also speaks about this in her book, Think About What You're Thinking About, is Battlefield in Mind. And many times, a previous book I also read, I can't get the name, but many of the authors challenge you to like think about what you're thinking about. Don't allow your mind to wander off. Don't allow yourself to be controlled by emotions. Don't allow yourself to just have a thought into your brain and you're just running with that thought, and now you're thinking about something that happened like 5 years ago, because that's how we perceive life. And then the other part is just being intentional or being mindful. So then today I go to church, and then the pastor speaking about how what are you filling yourself with? If you are filling yourself with anxiety and fear, you are led by anxiety, fear. And I was like, look at this frequency. So I'm not a big believer of like coincidence. I'm definitely a believer of what you surround yourself with, you'll find. So if I'm constantly maybe reading motivational quotes, I'm going to feel motivated. Motivation will find me. And if you are reading like me with the frequency and stuff, today's message, it just felt like my heart was filled. And I was just like, okay, this makes so much sense. So I'm like, okay, my frequency is aligned. Here, the pastor was saying, what you fill your mind, your heart is ultimately what's going to flow out of it. And I was like, oh my word, yes, this is biblical. So I'm going to read some of the Bible verses that I went to go and find that I could recall. So we all know this one, above all else, protect, what does it say? Guard your heart, for everything flows from it. That's in Proverbs. Another one says, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it. I put that in there because I was like, many times the law of attraction, we know about all of this, but it is biblical, where literally Matthew God says, pray as if you receive it. And that goes down to faith. We should live in a space where we constantly have faith and we constantly are hopeful. Another one says, whatever is true, noble, pure, right, lovely, think about such things, or some versions say, meditate on this. This is literally biblical. God's literally saying, only think on things that are true, that are good, that are just. Don't think about things that are like awful. Don't think about, and even this person today was saying is like, you know what, are you living in the past? Are you living about what someone did to you? Are you living through a mistake that someone made and it's hurt you? Are you still living in that? What is your perception of life? And I'm like, yes, it's even this book, this frequency book, Outsmarting Reality, is literally your perception. And it goes on to speak about how is there really a right and wrong? Like, is there really good and bad experiences? It's how we perceive life. And there is, in fact, no truth. It's just what you perceive to be true, because, yeah, we're not going to get carried away because you should go and read that book. And then, okay, that's the last Bible verse. So now we get to the question of how do we then apply this? How do I not feel tired? How do I not feel as though my reality is in fact impacting me and I can't constantly think myself into a good situation? I don't always want to be positive, but that's the point of Outsmarting this book. It's not that we are positive, it's that we're changing our perception on how we view things, and that is the difference here. It's not I'm always a positive person, I'll always see the light. No, that's great. That's great if you are, but it's not that. It is something that blew my mind, but it's something that we know already. So, for example, like pain is a good teacher, right? So many times our perception is when we're going through a difficult time, we're like, I just want to get through this. This is awful. This is bad. But if we really sit down, we need pain, and we need supposedly what we perceive as negative emotions to get through things. For example, I read this from The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. The guy says, when you bump your toe on a table, it is not a bad thing. It's painful, but now you know the next time you're walking, whether it's in the dark or you're walking to your lounge, whatever, you know to avoid the table. And another example that I like to think of is heartbreak. Well, like when we go through heartbreaks and we break up with someone, then you're like, this is awful. I don't want to love again. But many times you'll come out of there thinking, okay, so maybe this personality trait or this thing of myself I need to change, or that's actually not my type, or maybe I need to look deeper into connecting with someone on a different level, whatever it can be. But you've learned something from it, and it's not heartbreak seems sucky, but is it really negative emotion, or is it just ways where there's your like life is giving you boundaries, it's giving you signs of don't go here, this is not good for you, or stop going for this type, this is not good for you, and hence the consequence of that is heartbreak. But it's not a bad consequence, it's how you then know don't go in that direction, right? Just stay with me, just stay with me. So now we obviously know we need emotions, we need it for experiences, and we need to understand the point of the emotion. So the idea, what I found from this book, it's not that we can control reality, because we can't. Things are going to happen. It's rather that we don't let reality control us. So, for another example, let's say you like being celebrated, which is great. I love celebrating. Awesome. But let's say you like being hyped up, or you like when someone tells you maybe at work you're doing well. What that means is you are then controlled by a pat on the shoulder, or hey, you're doing well, and you might never feel fulfilled unless you're winning something, or if someone says, hey, you've done a great job, and that is you aligned to control with that external. But rather let it be that I've done so well, I feel good about my work, I feel great, and it's okay. And if it happens that someone shares a view that is similar to yours, that is great, but it's neither here nor there. That's the idea. It's that how are we perceiving this? How are we perceiving the bad things that happen to us, and how are we perceiving the good that happens to us? Or is it all just experiences, and it's how we take those experiences? So remember when I said at the beginning, I'm not going to get too into it because I had some time, I was busy, like obviously putting my mind together. So like I like to do, we're going to be practical, and I just thought I should quickly give you like a few tips on how we can apply, think about what we can do.